Hello everyone, welcome to the Jewish Week Online. We're here at the Future of Jewish Nonprofit Summit in New York City. With the rise of new technologies and social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, organizations are trying to figure out the best way to create effective social outreach. Let's learn more about what are some tools available for organizations to be effective and hear from leaders in the industry and what they are doing in their organization. In this age, it's really important for organizations to maximize their social outreach. What are some tips that you have for people to engage their constituents, donors, and really be effective in the social media realm?
I think one of the really revolutionary things about Twitter and about Facebook and about social media and social networking in general is that it is an amazing democratizer. It's a way that we can, as Jewish leaders, as people working to try to make the Jewish world a better place, it's a way that we can touch Jews and non-Jews all across the world in a way that would just be unimaginable 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or 5 years ago. And so the key is to really be able to build a conversation with people, to show them what you're doing, to be interested in what they're doing so that they're interested in what you're doing, and to really be engaged in the Twitter, Facebook world in a way that allows for our constituents, for people that we're trying to touch, to feel like they're there with us and to be engaged with us.
And one of the things that organizations sometimes fail to do is to try. And what are some, I guess, quick tips for organizations that are looking to go on Facebook, to go on Twitter, and not just to go on it, because anybody can sign up an account, but the real challenge is to be effective. So what are some tips that you have for organizations?
I would say that the tips for organizations are to first get your feet wet. You don't need to be a perfect Twitterer or Facebooker to be engaged. You don't need to be Lady Gaga with 4 million followers or 5 million followers or 6 million followers or however many she has at this very moment to be engaged in social networking. Get your feet wet, have some messaging, and go out there. And it can be, start off by just aggregating what's on your website. If you put up a release about a young leadership event you're doing on Tuesday, put it out on Twitter, put it out on Facebook. As a baby step. You don't need to employ a full-time social media person on day one. You don't need to be tweeting what you're having for lunch on day two. But just start the process and see what happens and engage. Talk to people who are involved in the social media world and see what works for them and see what works for you.
Social media organizations are still trying to figure out the best way to engage their constituents, their donors, and the global world. For organizations that are just now trying to get into that world, what are some advice you can give them to try to be effective as you start rolling out a social media plan and engagement?
I mean, I think if you're just starting out in social media, the rule of thumb generally is to sort of stop, look, and listen. To really see, there's definitely ways you can dive in, but if you're not sure how to spend your time, it's really starting by seeing, again, how your topic that you're trying to reach is being talked about, where your people are, and seeing, what's sticking, and really starting by sort of listening, and then maybe engaging with people by commenting on content, sharing information. Building a real community on social media can take a quarter to half time of somebody's job, and it may be a commitment that people aren't ready to make. If you are ready to make it, it's really about being where your community is, and there's lots of great helpful tools out there. One of my favorites, Idealware, put out a nonprofit social media decision guide last summer, and I think it's really helpful. It's got some great worksheets in it.
And whenever you start your process, there are definitely pitfalls. What are some no's? What are some things that you should really avoid?
I think if you're just starting out in social media, the biggest thing to avoid is sort of thinking it's just like every other media or marketing tool you've used before. It's not just for broadcasting. It's not just like, update your Facebook status and think that millions of people will all of a sudden start liking you. It's really about conversation. It's really about listening and being open to feedback. And I think if you treat it just as, blasting out a press release, you're not going to be very successful. And I think also just automatically connecting all your presences, so you say one message and the same thing appears in every channel, isn't great. I think each channel has their own etiquette, their own language, and it's important to really use those tools well and know them. So the biggest thing is to really, again, be where your people are, speak to the message that makes sense in that channel, and really look to build community and engage in conversation.
The future of Jewish organizations is something where people are trying to figure out what is going to happen. What is fundraising 3.0? What is social media? How do I connect to this global environment? What is the purpose of your organization in this conference?
So first of all, thanks for spending the day with us. I really appreciate it. This is the 5th global and 2nd annual in New York Future Jewish Nonprofit Summit, where we bring together dozens and dozens of nonprofit professionals together with incredible speakers, technology startups, communication professionals, fundraisers, together in a room to talk about the future. Well, what does that mean, the future? It sounds so silly, but in my time spending at both technology companies and nonprofits in the past decade, I realized an opportunity that existed between the two of them. There are so many incredible events going on these days, whether it's South by Southwest or TED or Web 2.0, where you have amazing speakers, innovative ideas, companies starting up. Twitter started at South by Southwest, it was launched there. Things like that, Foursquare, nonprofits weren't in the room. So I said, well, why don't we bring these amazing speakers, these technologies, to Jewish organizations? Jewish organizations should be hearing about these things, should be learning so that they can move forward quickly, especially in a day and age where we are really desperately trying to do more with less. How do you do more with less? You need to spend time and invest in your organization. You need to invest in yourself professionally. That could mean a small financial investment, that can mean learning, that can mean spending time watching videos and reading more. But what you want to do is learn more, because you have to do more with less. You have to get to that point where you can do that. It doesn't just happen overnight on your own. So that's what CASEL does. We produce these events, these Future Jewish Nonprofit Summit. You can check out the videos online, vimeo.com/CASEL, or you can come to FOJNP.com. We'd love to see you at more events.
Yeah, so taking some of the venture capital models and applying it to nonprofit giving, there's some of the shifts that are going on that we need to be cognizant about are the generational shift, how the younger generation is, rather than honoring the legacy of their parents, that's seeding to creating a legacy of their own. We have other shifts going on that are in terms of social impact giving and social venturing, where the people investing money are looking not necessarily only at the dollar return, but the social good that's happening as a result of the investment that they're making. As an example of that, a couple of examples might be, how is my investment helping the poor? How is it feeding more people? How is it educating more people? So social impact investing, or social venturing, is another model that's changing the way the nonprofit world is working.
What type of trends have you seen? Obviously, when you're dealing with nonprofits, sometimes you don't know what's going to happen at an event. Can you give us an example of how JDL enhanced an organization?
I mean, we've done simple in terms of enhancing it. You give away a ticket to Israel. People see 2 round-trip tickets to Israel. They might have heard of the organization, they may not have. They're going to support the organization and buy that JDL one, because they see it's going to a cause, but then there's also it could be a trip to Israel. So it's able to enhance the organization in different incentives of, if you do a discounted event, people want to go to the event, they're not sure if they want to spend, but then they go to the event and they see where the money is going for the cause, and they're bought into the organization.
As you can see, it was truly a fantastic event, and we learned a lot about new tools that are available for organizations to maximize their social outreach. This is Aaron Herman, and thanks for watching.